Well, hello, boys and girls. Here we are again when we feel like it o'clock. Um, I like to do things when I feel like it. Again, we have Steel Flyers back with us. Things obviously went fairly well last video. Steel wanted to come back, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you can come back. You're awesome,
Yeah,
dude."
man.
So,
Thank you very
uh,
much.
we had a fantastic time in our last episode, and this episode I think a lot of people might appreciate this, and this seems to be the angle we're likely going here. It's sort of like a lot of things that don't get talked about much in professional sports and how they affect teams and stuff like that. And one of them is ownership. And I think with the Buffalo Sabres, the with the happenings that have been happening with the Buffalo Sabres for the last little while, especially with Buffalo Sabres fans. I mean, if you want to talk about fans that don't take shit, but have been taking a lot of it, that's them. And
Yeah.
so you've got Terry and Kim Pagula that own the Buffalo Sabres. And this Buffalo Sabres team has been pretty much from garbage to average for 11 years now. Um,
Wow.
when
Yeah.
do we get to the point where we go, okay, you're changing everything all the time, but one consistent thing that happens here is you. When do we get to the point where we realize that the Buffalo Sabres problem, unfortunately, is the problem that can't change? And we thought about this, and we thought about how let's go on with other sports teams. Maybe even I'll be primarily hockey, and we can talk about football too. But how does the ownership? What does that have to do? How much does that have to do with what happens on the ice, and how much as like for me, if I own tickets, season tickets to, or if I'm going to purchase season tickets, when does it get to the point where I'm like, I'm in Buffalo going, I'm not buying a season ticket until this ownership is gone? Like, when does it get that bad?
Yeah, right.
So we don't know. I don't know exactly where we're going to go with this, but I think it's going to be fantastic, and I hope you all enjoy. I'm sure you will all enjoy it because what we've talked about it already has been pretty fascinating to me. What do you figure with this Buffalo Sabres organization or other organization? How much do you think ownership can really affect the product on the ice?
Perla, first of all, I want to thank you once again for having me, man. It's been a fantastic ride since we started doing these. They've been really great, and I just feel very honored to be here. Let me say this too. We talked last time about uh, ownership, and we talked last time about we were going to get into the Buffalo team and stuff like that, but we teased about the ownership the last time, and I think getting into that right now would be the best thing to do. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, to answer your question, to me, ownership is a huge part of who the team is. You look at any of the teams that are owned by anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, but leadership reflects, and it starts at the top. And if you're one of those owners that cares, and you're one of those owners that uh, is paying attention to things and doing things the right way, then we don't know who you are because we don't hear you,
A lot of the
right?
time, yeah. Yeah.
Right. And you hear about the ones that aren't quite doing things the right way. You know what I mean? Like there's so many. I'll give you an example, and I know this. We were talking about Buffalo and the fact that they've been so bad for so long, and it seems like they sort of try, like they went out and got Eichel, and they tried to get a nice young GM, and they it just seems like they're trying kind of, but not really. Like they're only trying sort of to just get it done enough, but then not quite all the way. You know what I mean? Like they're just not getting it all the way done. And I agree with exactly what you said. Ownership is a huge part of who teams are, and I think it reflects on how teams win and how teams lose. And when you lose, sometimes it's you have to look in the mirror to see what's what. And I think that's what Buffalo needs to do right now is take a hard look in the mirror and see what's going on because they're not putting it together right now at all.
Well, what I see with Buffalo is the past general managers that were there were selected for a reason, and I had my suspicions, but it really came when Botterill was fired here. Their reason for firing him was my suspicion. They said that they weren't. We didn't think he was hearing our voice.
Yeah.
Well, that basically says to me he's not doing what we tell him to do.
Yeah.
And you know what? Jason Botterill was probably doing the right thing by not doing what they were telling him to do. Because for
Yeah.
11 years, you've been telling people what to do and you've been doing shit. It's time to shut up. I'm sorry. If I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan right now, I'm like all over the place saying, hey, I got an idea. Why don't you not tell people what to do? You've been telling people what to do for
Yeah.
11 years and we missed
Yeah.
the
Right.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
it's time to stop telling people what to do.
Or maybe, and this is something that other teams have problems with. If you hire a general manager to run your team, or you hire somebody to be the president and CEO of your team, then let them do their job.
Well, exactly. That's right.
It's not rocket science here, folks. Look, let's face it. As an owner of a team, I would think that the first thing that you would want to do is hire somebody that knows hockey.
Yeah.
So let's start with that and hire somebody along those lines. And then you find somebody like that and you get somebody good because, look, you and I both know that it's very difficult to find a good general manager. It's very difficult to find that mesh between owner and general manager and coach. And you get a lot of this, where butting heads and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that you get everything all real, all those things aligned, and when they are aligned, that usually results in championships. And
Yeah.
look, I'm a huge Steelers fan. I bleed black and gold, but you
Mm.
got to look at the Patriots. And
Yeah.
now Robert Kraft is not exactly a model American, all right, but he said, all right, I'm going to hire this guy, Bill Belichick, and he's going to be the general manager and the coach.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, cool. Be the general manager and be the coach. So Bill Belichick is the general manager and he's the coach. He makes all the decisions and he's the one that has to deal with all the decisions because not only that, he's the coach.
And
So
he's
he's going
brilliant.
to, right. But the ownership allows him to do that.
Exactly.
They hired a professional and said, here's the job we need you to do. And Bill Belichick said, okay, here's 6 trophies or, whatever many he's won.
Right.
Here's 5 championships for you. How you doing? What? I mean, they got to be doing something right there. You know, that's just one example. Now, here's the other example on the other side of that. You look at a team like the Cleveland Browns, and they've been doing almost the same thing that Buffalo's been doing, only longer. Their
Yeah.
ownership keeps hiring general managers and coaches, and they keep getting number 1 draft picks because they are not playing very well and don't have a very good record. But they can't keep the same general manager for more than a year. They can't keep the same coach for more than a year. What is going on? Is there
Ownership's
something
hard to
in the
deal with.
water up there? Right.
Ownership's
See?
hard to deal with, man. For sure.
Nobody talks about that. Nobody
Yeah.
says. Everybody says the same thing. They all look and go, man, Buffalo, their ownership. I can't believe they picked up Jack Eichel. Why aren't they playing better? They got some pretty decent young prospects coming through their system. Why aren't they winning? They got a pretty, young coach, a young GM. Why aren't they winning? Why aren't they winning? Because they're not putting it together. They're not doing it the right way.
No, it's amazing. Well, it's because you know what? It's the whole like it's basically I think people say, they're the owners and there's not much you can do about that. So you put the blame on everything else. But I go back again before, I'm putting my entertainment dollar towards a product. And sooner or later, and I say sooner, that it has to go to the top. And if you really want to put pressure on an owner, stop going to the games. And this is one of the things that I've said about before.
Wow.
this is a big can of worms. A lot of people don't like
Yeah.
to say this. Support your team no matter what. I'm sorry, there isn't a no matter what here. I lived in Toronto for years, okay? This is a team that was absolute garbage for a long time. They weren't very good for a very long time. They had an ownership there that was brutal. And if they would have stopped going to the games, I guarantee you things would change. But as long as that building's going to be full, do you think the owner cares? You know, there has to be a time where there's a head shake. In Edmonton, we had a really in Edmonton we've been terrible for 10 years. And I'm telling you, I know I don't know the guy, but Katz, the owner of Rexall, he does love the Edmonton area. He's got a house here, and he really does love the Edmonton area, and he loves the Edmonton Oilers. But there seems to be a time when he started to say, you know what, I got to get my fingers out of this. And if it's something's got to happen for an owner to say, okay, maybe I better shut up. Maybe I just got to swallow my pride and realize that the best thing I can do is, in fact, if you need to hire a general manager, maybe hire somebody to hire a general manager because you're not good at it. You know, is there a time when you realize that, hey, you better hire somebody to do everything for that team, swallow your pride, and just realize you're not good at this game. You bought a team and you're not good at it. And Pegula has to come to that place. And I think there's other, like Montreal Canadiens have been terrible for a long time.
Yeah.
The Molson family, to me, there's a good example of it. They have guys in there. They have guys in there that you don't even know why they're there. And I know why they're there. A lot of people, if you ask Canadiens fans, this guy Stewart, one of their head scout, their head guy that's drafted for been in charge of that system for drafting for the last 15 years, hasn't drafted a pick in the first round that's made it to the NHL for like over 12 years. Now, how is that possible?
Wow. Man, in Buffalo, they fired 22 people. They fired all their scouts. They even fired the IT guy. No, I mean, but
and what did he do?
Just because you own a team doesn't mean that you know how to run a team.
Yeah.
Look, that's great. Thank you for buying the team, and thank you for having the deep pockets to pay all these guys and put this team together. Thank you. Appreciate that. Really, I do. And it's great when you come around and shake our hands in the locker rooms and, hand out cigars and whatever. And that's all great. And
it's beautiful.
And it's great when we see you writing checks to bring in top talent and top coaches and top GMs, and we're more appreciative of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But look, just because you own the team and you have a B after your name when it comes to the amount of money you're worth, doesn't mean you know how to run a team.
Yeah. Do you know what I think we're just saying right now? Is we would love for Mr. Pegula to come out and say, you know what? It's my fault. Wouldn't that be amazing?
No shame in that.
For all you people that are putting money into his organization that has bought this franchise, for all the people buying the tickets and all of that, for the owner to come and say, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's not all my fault. It doesn't matter. But just, it's my fault. And I'm taking responsibility. And I'm going to let somebody hire the next general manager because I have made a mistake on the last two. And it's time for me to start looking in the mirror. And if you do that, the rest of the organization will do the same. And like you've said before, there's guys here that are like Chicago Blackhawks with Rocky Wirtz. You want to talk about a guy who, if you ask about Rocky Wirtz, he's like the greatest guy on the freaking planet. Everybody loves Rocky. Okay.
Right.
And when Chicago wasn't doing well, Rocky didn't go out and fire everybody and start pointing fingers. Rocky just shook everybody's hand, said thank you for trying, and he went out and got the best minds he could to help him make that team better. That's what good ownership does.
Exactly right.
And
Exactly.
I think the reason why you and I maybe would I would get upset with this is I'm a fan. I
Yeah.
really feel for the Buffalo Sabres fans. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they deserve more, and they're paying a lot. They're paying a lot of money for those season tickets. Okay. And
Yeah.
first of all, you pay a huge amount of money for the rights for the seat. Okay. So you're not paying for the ticket yet. You're just paying for the rights to say, I get the first shot at buying them tickets.
Yeah.
Because then you have to buy each game ticket. Right? So it's a double investment. Those people are spending a lot of their hard-earned money, and they deserve to have answers, and they deserve to have somebody doing things right. There's so much of that going on now where ownership thinks that because they're the ones with the money that they know how to do things better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open the can of worms too, just like you did, and I can open it up with the NFL. You look at Jerry Jones. That man needs to step away from the frickin' Cowboys and just go, this is the general manager and this is the coach and they are never going to win a championship with Jerry Jones as the owner.
No.
Never gonna happen.
That
Nope.
is a really good. That is a great. I mean, I don't think you can get better.
Yeah.
Is there any
Never.
more clear vision of a poor ownership than that?
And I'm not saying that he's a bad guy and that he hasn't done good, because look at the stadium that he built and the whole night. Look, the guy's got money and the guy loves his team, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's great. And we love that. And what has he done? He's brought talent there. He's paid for talent. Right. Okay? He's paid for top talent. Okay?
Yeah.
But you need to let the coach the team, and you need the general manager to be the general manager of the team, because otherwise you're never gonna win. You're just never gonna win. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I said, it's not that he hasn't done good things, and it's not that he hasn't brought in good talent and paid for it, but he needs to have that aha moment, Just like the owner of the Buffalo Sabres needs to have that clunk on the head. Dunk. Hey, maybe I should hire a professional to do this. Yeah. And then when I do hire the professional, dunk. Hey, I better listen to them because they might know better than me.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you're at the top, and the way I see it is, to tell you the honest truth, I think an owner has more influence than anyone as to what happens to that team, because whatever's happening in that your organization is your philosophy that you're portraying to the masses, right? So you got a guy like Mike Ilitch in Detroit, okay? This guy, this is a situation where you have an owner who knows the game too. Isn't that a wonderful combination?
Yeah, right. That's few and far between on that one, right?
Yeah. Usually what happens is owners get a lot of money and they love the sport, and they want their like my vision would be the same. I think I'd make the same mistake. If I got millions of just so much to buy a team, I'd want to armchair general manager that team. I think I really would want to do it.
Who wouldn't? Come on, who wouldn't? If you suddenly came into all that kind of money and you could buy a team, you bet. I can run that team.
Exactly. I'm not putting them down, but it comes a point where you got to kind of look at yourself and go, okay, you know what? I gave it a shot, but I think I better just get the hell out of here. And I think that's Pagula is a good example.
Yeah.
And you said in the
Jerry
Cowboys,
Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Good example of
that.
Is these guys bought a team and they wanted to almost play their video. It's like a video game to them.
Yeah,
do and move everything they want.
It's fantasy ownership. It's fantasy ownership, and they're just kind of moving little fantasy pegs around the board, and I get to have, this guy, and this guy, this.
But the problem is their pride is so strong they can't admit to making the mistakes at the same time. They blame something because of it. And that's what you're having in Buffalo. Oh, it was the right pick, but he's this or he's that. I didn't know he was going to be like that, or I didn't know. Just face it, dude. You're not good at it.
You messed up. Yeah, you're just, come on, seriously.
Detroit Red Wings, okay, they have a philosophy. They have a philosophy of bringing kids up young. Keith hired great scouts because he knows the game.
A lot of the scouts were players.
Yeah.
Were ex-players. A lot of the scouts. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows he can judge he can judge those that can judge talent. He's an owner that is good at that. And he hires general managers that are good at that.
And coaches that are good. Yeah.
Holland, who ran Detroit for how long? And yes, okay, the last couple of years, the rebuild was tough. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's turned Edmonton around already in a year and a half. All right. This is Katz, who I just told you about, who had to swallow his pride and just say, you know what, I'm out of this. Talk to some people, find out who the best guy is. I'm wiping my hands.
Yep.
I'll shut up now.
Exactly.
So good for him.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best ownership decision you can possibly make, and it's damn hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but if this team's going to succeed, sometimes it's the best one. Not everybody's going to be a Mike Ilitch out there.
No, you can, and that's exact. Like, look, you look at Ed Snyder, and you look at what Ed Snyder did in Philadelphia. Now,
I was going to bring that up next. Yeah.
Did Ed Snyder make some mistakes? Yep. Do human beings make mistakes? Yep. Ed Snyder's biggest problem was that, and this is also one of his greatest strengths, is he wanted to win.
Yeah.
And he did not care how, why, when, or how much.
Yeah.
He wanted to win. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, that's a double-edged sword because it's good because you have that drive, okay? And it's bad because, well, it kind of clouds your judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. And God bless Bobby Clark, and I'm gonna say it. I'm a diehard Philadelphia Flyers fan and have been for a very, 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 very long time. But Bobby Clark was not the best general manager for the Flyers.
No. And you know what? You mentioned that Edmonton did the same thing with Lowe and these guys. Sometimes an owner can be just a little too loyal.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what about Ed Schneider. You tell me any team that would turn down a contract that was at the right price from the Philadelphia Flyers. Not one guy.
Nope.
Nobody in the league would turn down a contract from the Philadelphia Flyers. Why?
Nope. Everybody wanted to come and play there.
Ed Schneider takes care of his guys, man. No doubt about it.
There's lists as long as your arm of players that I could rattle off that he's helped to take care of after they've gotten out of hockey.
Yeah.
Where he's either tried to get him a job in the organization or he's taken care of them financially.
Yep.
Or look, you don't hear owners doing that.
Mike Ilitch is another one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't hear owners doing that kind of stuff to their former players. You just don't hear that. No.
Not too often, no.
No, you just don't. And did he make some mistakes? Yes. But I think one of the last things that now look, I'm not going to say that Hextall wasn't a good hire because I think he was a great hire. The only problem I think Hextall had was that he had a hard time pulling the trigger. And we needed them kids playing now, and he was like, yeah, we can go another year. No, Ronnie, we need him on the ice now, buddy. You got
Ron Hextall?
Yeah.
Ron Hextall is going to be a fantastic general manager in this league somewhere else. But his biggest mistake was Carter Hart. Carter Hart should have been playing in there, and I understand why he didn't want to do it. But Carter Hart should have been playing. That was his only real big mistake.
Look at what he did in Los Angeles. He was the assistant general manager there, for the first 3 of the 7 years, and then I think the last 2 years he was a general manager there.
Yeah.
But they won 2 cups.
Yeah.
And how did they do it? They drafted every single guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy knows what he's doing. I agree. He's going to be a general manager somewhere. Somebody's going to give him a shot.
Yeah.
And I've been actually hearing that his name is floating around for Buffalo.
Yeah, well, no, people have come up with this idea, and that he could be in partnership with Kevin Adams and stuff like that. But the question is, does he want to take on that task? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think Ron Hextall is going to want to listen to the Pagulas talking in his ear all day long? No. Ron Hextall does not want to listen to what other people are telling him to do.
No. And I think the next person that takes that job is going to have to be like, they're going to have an agreement where the general manager is going to be like, you can't be in the building when I'm here or something. They're going to have to do something.
If they're going to get an experienced general manager,
yeah,
he's going to have to learn how to shut up. And the general manager is going to tell him, like, I'm doing this, and really, I don't really want it. I can't have any, you are the problem. And Pagula's going to have to, like I said, we've been saying all the way up until now, sometimes an owner's just got to look at himself and say, yeah, you're right. And like I said, I'm not putting down Pagula, because if I was in his shoes, I'd want to be doing what he's doing too. It's just, I mean, you didn't become a billionaire sometimes by being able to swallow your pride and say, I got to step back here. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. Easy. And especially guys like that. Yeah. Especially self-made, guys like that are, Exactly. What do you mean? I can take care? What are you talking about? I can do this. I'm better than them. I'm the one that owns this team. How dare you tell me?
I built $1 billion this. Yeah. And you're telling me I can't take care of a hockey team.
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, I do. I get it. But
look, I'm going to tell you something. If I had the money to buy a team, okay, if suddenly the Lord blessed me with that kind of money, okay, and I said, yeah, I wanted to go own a team, all right, the first thing I would do is I would contact somebody like Iserman or one of those guys, and be like, hey, man, I got a job for you.
I'd contact Hextall.
Or, contact Ronnie Hextall. Hey, Ron, look, buddy.
This is our segue. Because our next broadcast, what we're going to do is, if we had the billions, how would we start the team and who would we hire?
Oh, boy, that's great. Man. Yeah, I'm with you.
That next time. Boys and girls, this is Steel Flyers. This has been a blast.
Thanks, man.
Next time we're going to do this, hit the subscribe and the bell so you don't miss it, because it's going to be great. We're going to do who would we hire and what would we do if we were starting a franchise today and we had the money to do it. Tell us in the comment section what you think, and tell us anything that you think, actually. We'd love to talk to you.
Hey, stay tuned. Also, stay tuned. Steelflyers.com is in the works.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Man, you can reach me at Steel Flyers.
Give them out your Twitter handle.
At Steel Flyers. Can reach me at Steel Flyers on Twitter, and pretty soon we'll have the website up, and that'll be steelflyers.com. So stay tuned for an announcement on that.
You can get me on Twitter at Pearl of Wisdom, POW, as well. I can barely get that out. This has been a blast, my friend.
Yeah, man. Good talking to you, brother.
And we'll see you in a couple of days, and we're going to talk about that. How would we start off our franchise?
If you had the billions.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, brother. Yep.
See you later, buddy.
Yep.